Good morning. I hope everyone's doing well today. We are going to start off today. It's going to be a 45-minute flow, so a little bit longer than the ones that we've done before. So if you're watching this later on, obviously just make sure that you go at your own pace. If you need to drop down at any point, drop down into a child's pose, have some water, whatever you need. If you are a more experienced practitioner, then maybe go a little bit deeper into some of the postures. I'm going to be keeping it quite tamed back, just because I know from right now my body is not feeling going too far. So go with where your body's at, what you feel like doing. We're going to start off in a comfortable seat. So just coming on down, finding that comfortable seated position. Just resting the hands over the knees. We just give the shoulders a couple of rolls through. And then just allowing them to settle, softening down through the tops. Letting the crown of the head rise tall. Closing the eyes if they're not already. Just finding that sense of space on our mats. Just try and clear the mind of anything that might be chattering around inside of it. Just having a check through the forehead, making sure that it's not furrowed, you're not holding your tension there. Just try and relax the muscles down. Start to bring in our steady breath here, so inhaling through the nose, exhaling out through the nose. Breathing in and breathing out. Just allow with every inhale, letting the crown of the head maybe rise a little bit taller. Using every exhale, maybe rooting the sit bones, the bums down a little bit deeper into the ground. Finding that sense of connection down between the body, the breath. Finding that sense of connection between the body, the breath, and then the mind. If you have got Ujjayi breaths, that's that constriction at the back of the throat. It's an oceanic sound, maybe you're bringing that in. Otherwise, just keep with the deep breath in through the nose and out through the nose. Taking one more breath here, breathing in. Using your exhale, just letting the eyes blink open. On an inhale, send the arms, reach them up overhead. As you exhale, taking a twist around towards the right hand side, so left hand over the right knee, right hand behind the back. Starting off nice and gentle with these twists. Taking one more breath here. As you inhale, let yourself rise up, reach the arms tall. Exhale, twisting out towards the left hand side, so right hand over that left knee, left hand just places down behind. You might find that one side feels slightly easier to twist into than the other. Using your next inhale, let your arms come back up, reaching tall. On an exhale, taking a forward fold. Now some of you, your forehead might touch the ground. Others like me, it's going to feel like it's miles away, but I want you just to start to feel that stretch through the sides of the body. Try and keep the sit bones planted into the ground. Using an inhale, walking the hands back in. You're going to place the hands behind the bum. Have the fingertips pointing in. So for some of you, you might just need to lean back a little bit. From there, we're lifting up through the heart, draw the shoulders back, open the chest out. If it feels available to you, you could always start to squeeze the bum slightly, lift the hips, work those hips forwards, finding a little bit more space. And then using an exhale, releasing the bum down, bringing the body up to center. We're going to roll over, coming to our tabletop position. So bringing the hands underneath the shoulders, knees are stacking underneath the hips. I'm just rolling through a couple of our cat-cows here. So breathing in, let the belly drop, lift the heart forwards. Breathing out, rounding into the spine, tucking the chin. Inhale, let the belly drop, lift the heart forwards. Exhale to round through. Now you can either keep this nice lateral position. If you want to take it a little bit deeper, you could always start to find a little wiggle through the bum. Just moving the body around. It might just get into the side of the body a little bit more. Just moving the body however feels good. Maybe coming over the wrist a little bit further, maybe sinking back. Taking one more breath where you are. And then just working yourself back into that tabletop position. We're going to work into our extended puppy pose. So just making sure the hips are going to stay over the knees. Start to walk your hands forwards. Maybe bringing the forehead towards the ground. If it's available to you, you've got quite a flexible back, you could always bring the chest down towards the ground, taking the chin onto the floor. Just try and make sure these bottom ribs aren't letting them flare too much, so we've got so much pressure going on in the lower back. So maybe just have a little bit of a gentle tuck down of those lower ribs, and just allowing yourself to work through the shoulders. We're going to take a twist here, so pressing into your right hand. Sweep the left arm through between the right hand and the right knee, and then let your left ear come down towards the floor. Let's have a check in with the hips, make sure that left hip hasn't pulled itself forwards. Keep reaching through, maybe start to send the right fingers a little bit further forwards, get a little bit more space. Now either staying here, if you're feeling a little bit more balanced this morning, bringing the hands into a prayer position and then trying to open the chest up that little bit deeper. You could stay where you are there. You could tuck the right toes under, and then we're going to try and find a balance here. Maybe start to stem that right leg into the air, remembering that if we fall, we get back up again. Taking one more breath here. And then slowly releasing that right knee down before we fall. Releasing the arms, sending that right arm back out in front. Pressing into the hand, just bringing yourself back into that puppy pose. Just finding that neutral position. We're going to come to the second side, so pushing down through the left arm. Sweeping the right arm between the left hand, the left knee. Just feeling that stretch through the shoulder. Again, it might be you just walk the left arm a little bit further forwards. Get that stretch through the side of the body. You might stay there. If you want a little bit deeper, we're going to bring that left hand, place it on top of the right, working into that prayer position, opening into the chest. If from there you feel like you've got your balance, you might tap the left toes, lift the left knee. And then again, if you want to, you could start to lift that left foot away from the ground. Really trying to find that balancing position here. So all the muscles through the back, through the stomach are working. Muscles into that left glute are activated. One more breath. And then releasing that left knee to the ground. Releasing the arms, bringing them back around to center. Just finding that puppy. Now on your inhale, walking the hands in slightly, tucking the toes. We're working our way to downward facing dog. Sending the hips up and back. And just working into those legs. So here, just pedaling out, bending into one knee, maybe bending into the other. Have a little twist into the body. Get out any cracks, any clicks. Especially at the moment, if like me, your only form of cardio has been running, the backs of the legs are definitely feeling it at the moment. Just allowing the heels to start to settle into the ground. So feet are hip width apart and parallel. Hands around shoulder width. Sending the hips up and back. Getting that length through the spine. And as you breathe in, coming up onto the tiptoes, sending the heels high. On an exhale, maybe just pressing the heels down a little bit closer. We're going to do that 2 more times. Breathing in, coming up high onto the tiptoes. Exhaling to release back down. 1 more. Breathing in, coming high on the tiptoes. And on an exhale, releasing the heels. Little bend into the knees. Walk the hands back towards the feet, coming towards the back end of the mat. Once you're there, just holding on to opposite elbows. Try and keep the legs nice and soft. So we're not looking for a hamstring stretch. We're looking to just allow the spine to decompress. Give yourself a little gentle sway from side to side. Maybe nod the head yes, shake the head no. Take a nice deep breath in. Exhale with a sigh, let it go. Releasing the hands down to the ground. We're going to keep the hands here. Left hand stays in front of the left foot. If you need a block or maybe have a book or anything, you could place it up on just to make the floor a little bit higher. Start to bend into your left knees, reaching the right arm up towards the sky, opening out into the chest. And see if you can then send that right hip up. We're looking to stack the shoulders as much as possible. Using an exhale, releasing the right hand down in front of the right foot. Inhale, start to lift the left arm. We're bending into the right knee, straightening out into the left. Opening out through the side. One more breath here. And as you exhale, just slowly releasing. Walking the hands, pad them back out. Find that downward facing dog position. Using your next inhale, begin to walk your feet forwards, coming towards the hands. Once you're there, little softness in the knees, let the body hold over the legs. We're starting to roll up through the spine, so one vertebrae comes on top of the next. Stacking up, head is the last part of you to rise tall. Just allowing, making sure there's no head rushes there. We're going to find Tadasana at the top third of the mat. So big toes together, little gap between the heels. Any back issues, hip issues, stand the feet so they're hip width apart. From there, set the arms down by the side of the body. Closing the eyes. Feeling that connection between your feet and the ground. So big toes, little toes, heels of the feet are gently pressing down. Find that slight lift in the arches of the feet. Lifting through the kneecaps, inner thighs will start to draw together. Spines are long, tailbones heavy, softening the bottom ribs in. Letting the chest rise, palms are facing forwards, let the chest open. Crown of the head's reaching tall, slight draw back of the chin, lengthen the neck out. Allowing ourselves to root down through the feet, rising tall through the crown of the head. Working with our breath, inhaling through the nose, exhaling out through the nose. Breathing in. As you breathe out, blinking the eyes open, coming into some sun salutations. Breathing in, sweep the arms, take them up overhead. Breathing out, forward folding, taking the hands to the ground, bend your knees as much as you need. Inhale, halfway lift, either hands to the floor or hands to the shin if that makes it kinder. As you exhale, placing the hands down, stepping the feet into plank position. Knees drop down, then chest and chin release down, sliding the body forwards, baby cobra, draw the shoulders back, just lifting the chest. Using your exhale, tucking the toes, send the hips up and back. Look for that downward facing dog position. Think about sending the hips as high as you can. If this is putting a lot of strain into those hamstrings, have a bend in the knees. Send the chest back, send the hips up. Maybe you're keeping the knees bent. If it feels okay, start to straighten the legs out. But don't worry too much about them. Using your next inhale, looking between the hands. Step the feet forwards. On an exhale, fold the body over the legs. Inhale to bring the body up, arms rise. Exhale, hands through to heart. Inhaling, arms rise. Exhale, forward fold, taking the hands down, head to knees. Inhale to lengthen, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the hands down, step the feet back, coming down either knees, chest, chin, or full chaturanga, high plank to low plank. Send the chest forwards, upward facing dog, we're on the tops of the feet. Using your exhale, let the hips rise, downward facing dogs. Think about sending your armpits towards one another. So we're trying to wrap the shoulders around the side of the body. Keep pressing into the hand. This is a pushing action, so you're pushing the floor away. Using your inhale, looking forward, stepping or floating your way to the front. Exhale, folding over the legs. Inhale, bring the body up, arms rise. Exhaling, hands through to heart. We're going one more of these. Inhaling, arms rise. Exhale, forward fold. Halfway lift, lengthen into the body. Exhale, step or float your way back. You're working your way through either full chaturanga, that high plank to low plank, or knees, chest, chin. Upward facing dog on the tops of the feet. Lift the heart. Exhale, send the hips high, downward facing dogs. Try and make sure there's pressure down through the base of the index finger, base of the thumb. And then just try to make sure you're not gripping on with your fingertips. So we're looking for all the knuckles to have a connection with the ground. And then just imagine the palm of your hand is a little bit like a sucker cup. So there's a little tiny gap underneath the direct palm, but it's sealed all around. If this hurts your wrists, it might just be you're a little bit too far forwards, in which case bend the knees, send the chest back, take the pressure off those wrists. And then send the hips up. One more breath here. As you inhale, looking up, stepping or float your way forwards. Exhale, folding over the legs. Inhale to bring the body up, arms rise. Exhale, hands through to heart. One sun salutation B. Breathing in, bend at the knees, hinge at the hips, sweep the arms, chair pose. Exhale to fold forwards. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, step float, make your way back, working your way through chaturanga or knees, chest, chins. Upward facing dogs or stay cobra. Exhale, back into downward facing dogs. Breathing in, right foot comes forwards, back foot grounds, warrior one. Bend into that right knee, send the arms high. Exhale, both hands to the floor, step it back, and then working your way down, upward facing dogs. Exhale, back into downward facing dogs. Breathing in, left foot comes forwards, back foot grounds, warrior one. Exhale, both hands to the floor, step it back. And again, you're flowing your way down. Upward facing dog on the in-breath. Exhale, send the hips high, downward facing dogs. Just holding here. Taking one more breath where you are. Using your inhale, looking up, stepping or float your way forwards. As you exhale, folding over the legs. Inhale, bend the knees, sweep the arms, come back into that chair pose. Releasing all the way to standing, hands come through heart center. Just closing the eyes. Finding that breath, finding that control. Inhaling through the nose. Exhaling out through the nose. And the eyes blink open if they're closed. As you breathe in, coming back into chair pose, bend the knees, hinge at the hips. This is not my favorite position. You're going to think about sinking the hips back. When you look down towards the knees, make sure you can see at least your big toes in front of them. Feet are planted into the ground, but try and bring the weight a little bit further in towards the heels. From there, we're going to bring the hands into prayer at heart center. On an inhale, let the chest lift up, find a little bit more space. Taking a twist here, so as you exhale, we're twisting around towards the right hand side, so left elbow comes to the outside of that right knee. Maybe you can take the gaze up towards that right shoulder. Try and check in that your knees stay in line here. If you feel like your left hip rolled forwards and that knees come forwards, you're going to roll the hip back. Try and squeeze the inner thighs together. Maybe just sinking the bums a little bit lower. Take the gaze down towards the ground for more stability, or keep the gaze high for a little bit more of a challenge. We're going to pick your left foot away from the ground, finding a balance. Twists on their own are quite difficult, balances on their own are difficult. Put the two together. It's a whole lot of fun to be had. So we're going to squeeze that left foot in towards the left bum cheek. Plus, if you're on a carpet, it makes it even harder. All the excuses. We're going to send that left leg out behind. Keep your twist. Flex into that left foot, so point the toes down towards the ground. Try and keep the crown of the head coming forwards as much as you can. We're going to drop those left toes to the ground. Keep a bend in that right knee, and then let the gaze fall up towards that top shoulder again if it's not already. Keep sending that left heel away. Holding in your twist here. If you need to drop the back knee for support, drop it down. Keeping your twist as you breathe in, bringing the body up. So still twisted towards that right hand side. Right knee still bent. And it might be you stay where you are here, or you might start to expand your arms out. So right arm goes back, left arm goes forwards. Maybe see if you can take the gaze towards those right fingers. Crown of the head's rising tall as you breathe in. As you breathe out, see if you can twist a little bit deeper. Taking the right hand towards the back of the left leg, sending the left arm high. Might be you gaze back towards the back of the mat, and you might take the gaze up towards those left fingers. Letting the chest open. Taking one more breath here, don't lose that belly in that front knee. On your next exhale, we're going to take your left hand down, the inside of the right foot, sending the right arm high, easy twist. Again, if you want to drop that back knee down for support, send it down. See from there if you can wrap your right arm around the back of the body. Find the hip crease of that left hip. Keep rolling that right shoulder back. Taking one more breath here. Coming into your high crescent lunge. So as you breathe in, bring your body up. Squeeze down through those feet. Lift the arms high. Squaring the hips off towards the front. Coming into warrior one, so drop the back foot to the ground. Think hips are still trying to square themselves as much as they can towards the front. Weight through the back edge of that back foot. Bring the hands into a prayer position. We're going to come up to stand on your right leg, bringing your left knee in towards the chest. So as you inhale, bringing the weight forwards, lift that left knee nice and high. If you want to, send the arms up overhead, finding a little bit of a deeper balance. See if you can lift that left knee a little bit higher without leaning back. Right hand's going to come over that left knee. Left arm is then going to reach towards the back of the room. Maybe let your gaze fall towards that back hand. One more breath here. On an inhale, let your body come round to center. Reach both arms high. Bringing the hands back into that prayer position. Coming through warrior three, you're going to extend that left leg out behind you. Pivot the body forwards. Start to bend into your right knee. See if you can send your left elbow to the outside of that right leg again. You see where we're going. We're going to end up where we started. So bring in left foot in towards the bum, knees together. Sink the bum back and down a little bit more. See if you can get a little bit more of a twist into the upper body. And then sending that left foot next to the right, revolved chair pose. Maybe gaze falls up towards that top shoulder. Come through chair, reaching both arms high. Take an exhale, forward fold. Like me, your right thigh is absolutely burning. Have a little wiggle out of the legs. Taking one more deep breath here. Exhale with a sigh. Inhale to bend the knees, sweep the arms, coming into your chair pose. We're going to go for the second side. So again, just sinking the weight back, lower belly draws in. Hands into prayer at heart center, keep the chest open. Inhale to create space. As you exhale, twisting out towards the left side. So right elbow to the outside of that left knee. Just having a check down, making sure that right knee stays in line with the left. Couple of breaths here. We're then going to start to lift that right foot away from the ground. So gaze either up or gaze goes down. Squeeze that foot in towards the bum. Keep the body long. Start to send that right leg out behind you. Keep it in the air. Flex into that right foot. Point the toes down. And then we're releasing the right foot to the ground. Coming into our twisted lunge here. Maybe taking the gaze up past that top shoulder. Just keep sending that right heel away. Get as much length as you can. Holding in your twist. Keep that bend in the front knee. Lift the body up. Twisting out towards the left hand side. Keep the hands either in prayer or you're extending the arms out. Left arm back, right arm forwards. Think about really reaching the fingertips away from one another. Staying there, or sending the left hand towards the right leg, reaching the right arm high, gaze either back or taking the gaze up towards those right fingers. We're going to take it into that easy twist as you exhale. Right hand down to the inside of that left foot. Left arm reaches high, opening back out. Again, drop the back knee if you need to here. Maybe you're wrapping that left arm around the back of the body, finding a little bit more space, rolling that left shoulder back. High crescent lunge as you breathe in, so bringing the body up, lifting both arms towards the sky, squaring the hips off. Warrior one, drop the back foot to the ground. Weight into the back edge of that back foot. Keep that bend in that front knee. Bringing the hands into prayer position. We're going to come up to that standing position, lifting the right knee nice and high. So as you breathe in, bringing the weight forwards, lift that right knee up. Standing tall, maybe sending the arms up and overhead. Left hand to that right knee, start to open the body out towards the right side. This is where the balance starts to go. One more breath here. Inhale, let the body come back to center. Bring the hands back into prayer. Warrior three, start to send the body forwards. Right leg goes behind, squeeze into that right glute, make sure it's working to lift that leg up nice and high. Start to bend into your left knee. We're going to come into that revolve, taking right elbow to the outside of that left knee, maybe taking the gaze up if that's available, otherwise keeping the gaze down for stability. Bringing your right knee in line with your left, keep the foot lifted. Step that right foot next to the left, full revolve chair. Maybe taking the gaze up, one more breath here. And then using your inhale, sending yourself up into full chair pose. We're going to come through vinyasa from here. So exhale, forward fold. Inhale, lengthen, lift the heart. Exhale, step, float, make your way back. You're working your way down through chaturanga. Upward facing dogs. Exhale to send the hips high, downward facing dogs. We're going to step the feet one step closer towards the hands. Now if you've practiced with me before, we have done these. We're going to take the left arm underneath the body, grab anywhere on the outside of that right leg. You're going to try and send your body underneath that right armpit. If you can, maybe bringing the hand towards that right foot if it's available. Think about really opening out, twisting into the body. You might well stay where you are here, just working into the twist. If it feels available, we're going to start to work into a little bit more of a balance. Plant that right foot into the ground. Maybe you can start to float the left foot, away from the ground. I have to find a spot on the floor that I can stare down at. Some days I got it, some days I haven't. See if you can lift that leg. It might come a millimetre off the floor. You might be able to send it all the way into a split position. It might come up for a second and then drop back down. We're going to go one more. Lifting that leg if you can. And then releasing that left foot. Release the left hand. Just have a little wiggle through the body. Bend the knees. Do whatever feels good. We're going to take it to the second side. So right arm comes underneath, grabs anywhere on the outside of that left leg.
Remember, it can be as high up or as low down as you feel you can go. Try and send your body underneath that left armpit. Get the twist to start with. Now again, it might be you stay where you are. You might be able to start to bring the weight out of that right foot. Maybe start to float that right leg away from the ground. It might come a millimetre off, it might come off for a second. It might feel as light as a feather. Doing 2 more breaths here. And then slowly releasing that right foot back down. Release the right hand. On an inhale, looking up, step float, bring your bum down however you want to. That's me this morning. Send the legs out in front. We're hugging the right knee in towards the body and we're going to lift up nice and high. So just hug it up, crown of the head reaches tall, left foot is extended up towards the ceiling. Step that right foot up and over your left leg. So you're going to plant that foot into the ground. This might be good for your body here. You can feel that stretch through the outside of that right hip. If you can take this further, you're going to bend up into that left knee, bring the left foot down by the right hip. If you're there, try and make sure that both sit bones are pressing into the ground. If you feel like from there you're just leaning over towards that left hand side, keep the left leg out. Doesn't really matter. Sitting up tall, we're going to take a twist here. So as you breathe in, left arm's going to reach high. Breathing out, taking a twist towards the right hand side. Now it might be that you can get your elbow to the outside of that left knee, right knee, sorry, apologies. If that doesn't feel possible, hug that knee up and over. So use that arm as a little bit of a pull over. If you can take the elbow to the outside of the knee, great. If you have got a bind, so the left arm goes between the gap in the legs, right arm goes around the side, working into your bind. Just staying wherever feels good for you. We're using that inhale to lengthen the crown of the head up. We're using the exhale to try and deepen into the twist. Taking 2 more breaths here. And then as you exhale, just slowly releasing, de-rotating round. Just bring the hands down by the left side, folding over. Send that left leg back out, send the right leg back out. Give them a little bit of a wiggle out. Come to the second side, so left knee hugs in, lifting up nice and tall through the body. Step that left foot to the outside of the right leg, plant that foot into the floor. Again, it might be you keep the right leg extended. If it's available, you could bring a bend into that right knee, placing the foot by your left hip. Inhale to find that length, maybe reaching the right arm high. As you exhale, taking a twist towards the left hand side. Again, just working out where you need to be. Taking a bind if you've got the bind. Otherwise, maybe hugging that knee over. Maybe elbow to the outside of the knee. Using that inhale to lengthen, find that space. Using the exhale to release into the space you've just created. Taking 1 more breath here. As you exhale, slowly de-rotate round, placing the hands down by your right hip, folding over. Bringing the body up, sending that right leg back out if it's not there, send the left leg out. Just shake it into the body, taking a forward fold as you inhale, both arms high. Exhale, hinging forwards, maybe wrapping index fingers, middle fingers around the big toes. If you've got a strap, you could wrap that around the balls of the feet. If you haven't got either of those and you feel like your knees or your feet are too far away from your hands, bend up into the knees, hold on to the toes, send the chest forwards, and then over time what will happen is you'll be able to extend your legs without that rounding sensation. Taking one more breath here. As you inhale, just releasing the feet. You're going to take your left hand to the outside of that right foot, either with a bent knee or a straight leg. On your next inhale, as you lift up, you're going to bring the body up, send that right arm behind you, sending the right leg forwards. Just feeling a little bit of an extra stretch through the outside of that right leg, twisted into the body. One more breath here. As you exhale, release that right foot to the ground. Send the right hand to the outside of the left foot. Inhale, sweeping that left arm up and back as you lift that left leg up. Press the foot in towards that right hand. Exhale, slowly releasing that foot down. Working our way onto the back. So just allowing yourself to come down, hugging the knees into the body. Just give yourself a little gentle rock on the back. If that feels okay, maybe drawing the forehead up towards the knees, rounding through. Just releasing the back of the head back to the floor. Sending the arms out wide, feet to the ground. Just lift the hips, send the hips towards the right side, and then let your knees just drop towards the left, finding a twist. Gaze might fall towards your right arm. You might just let the eyes start to soften or close down. Using an inhale, let the knees come up to center. Push the feet into the floor as you lift the hips, send the hips towards the left hand side, then let the knees drop over towards the right. Inhaling, bringing the knees up to center, just bringing the hips back to center, draw the knees in towards the body, and then coming down to find Ashtavasanas, so allowing the legs to extend out along the length of the mats. Let the feet drop out, send the arms down by the side of the body, palms turn up towards the sky. Closing the eyes if they're not already. Just allowing yourself to surrender the body into the ground. There's nowhere else you need to be, nowhere else that needs to happen. If you want a little bit longer in your Shavasana, then absolutely stay longer. Otherwise, we're going to start to find a little wiggle into the fingers, wiggle into the toes, maybe circle the ankles, circle the wrists. Breathing deeper, letting the arms come up and overhead, and just give yourselves a full body stretch. Exhaling, pulling the knees towards the body, hugging the knees down. Just giving yourself a little gentle rock on the back. Going to find rest over on your right hand side whenever you're ready. Pressing the left hand into the ground, just making your way up to a seated position. Once you're there, just allowing the hands to come into prayer at heart center, or just resting the hands over the knees, tucking the chin, bowing the head. Thank you so much for practicing with me today. Namaste.